After the sudden and unexpected jump to the future, Dienach started to become indoctrinated into the lifestyle that he was thrusted into. As time went on, he began to learn how the world went from a society of conflict to that of the utopia he is currently living in at this moment. Let's join him again as he learns the rocky road it took for us to reach this enlightened, peaceful future we have come to know in 2,000 years. Now sit back, or don't. It's really your choice as we dive into the Chronicles from the Future Part 2. I really wanted to say Chronicles of Narnia.
I know you did. So going squatching.
We're going squatching, bitches. Welcome back to Don't Touch My Sasquatch podcast. We're in the Nibble-Verse, and I'm Josh.
I continue to be Lennon.
Weeks?
I'm orbiting the Nibble-Verse.
Oh, you are, huh? God damn it, I screwed it up.
Well, we pick back up with Paul Amadeus Dienach
Paul McCartney.
and Andreas Northam's body a few months into his trip to the future. He has just returned home from a trip to the famous northern supercity of Norfolk. He returns feeling a sense of knowledge and the overwhelming nature of the supercity. The hustle and bustle of millions of people living out their lives, he learned much from many, and few learned much from him.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Did you write that?
I did.
I like it. That was good. That was very good. Nice job.
Appreciate it. The supercity of Norfolk.
Mm-hmm. Norfolk.
Like I said, I couldn't talk about it all, but this was a major trip. Mm-hmm. This super city was a collection of small cities, and it's a lot. There's a lot there, a lot to unpack. But basically, there's a lot of cool shit there in their super cities. There's a lot of stuff I didn't talk about in either of these.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, I'm going to tell you about the stuff I didn't talk about. How about climate control? You get air-conditioned cities. That'd be dope. They have it.
Nope.
You got the flying cars.
Nah.
They're called Linsons. Those are cool.
Oh, Lindsay's.
Nope. I didn't talk about it as much as I wanted to, but they have made contact with extraterrestrials.
No.
And they're not afraid of them. Apparently, they've actually come to aid Earth. Oh, fuck it. I'll talk about it right now. They've come to aid humanity in our darkest and worst of times.
It was the darkest
to make sure we didn't
times,
destroy ourselves. So,
well,
apparently they're there to help us. But
some are. I mean, the cool thing is we're already on that journey right now.
Yeah, we're on a journey to Mars. Speaking of Mars, that was another thing I had to talk about. They colonized Mars.
Yeah, well,
cool shit.
It was by an ancient guy called Mr. Elon Musk, I think.
To say Mr. Potato Head.
Yes, Mr. Potato Head. He was just a large head.
Shaped like a potato.
And people said he talked, but in reality, it was just a potato.
It was, too. They kept having to prop him up. It kept falling over.
Yeah, he's a lopsided potato.
Oh.
And then about 3 days into it, he started to get into a smelly, smushy potato.
Smushy potato. You get a little spud going.
Yeah, a little spud.
And
that's how we came.
Spudded up.
Spud, Fud, and Judd. Boom. It all came together.
Full circle.
Full circle. Now we're with aliens.
Yep. Well,
from a potato.
From a small spud. Anyway,
that was a journey.
It was,
and a ride.
Well, returning from Norfolk, some of the select few who knew of his situation spent hours and hours with him having conversations. But to him, he said it felt more like an interrogation. They sought out insight on the past through him, just as he had the future from them. The modern man, the troned as they were called, to him, had such a childlike purity of heart and innocence. Now, let me get another excerpt opened up. Here we
go.
He says, their intellectual and moral purity and clarity has such a power to relax and alleviate me that there are times when I feel love for the whole world. They don't suspect anything bad about you. And you, in turn, feel the need to get rid of even the slightest ugliness inside of you. In their eyes, you look so much better than you really are, and that urges you to actually become better. They see so much sincerity, love, and selflessness in you, and something inside of you makes you want to justify this idea they have for you as much as possible. That's how it is. The current troned, again, the current man, the man of the new era, is a social and psychological type of human, successor to the human robot, the practical man, who wore the blinders of his daily struggle for survival, who was always on the verge of anxiety, deprived of any inner life and free time to look after himself or nature. The man product of the soulless techno-culture, the materialistic man of the era of the mechanistic philosophy that was completely out of touch with any spiritual foundation.
No, very true.
Sounds a little similar, huh? We're gonna start talking about this techno-culture, and we're gonna start talking about how they got to be this modern throne in this modern society. With their new enlightened state of being and their rules of society, which make it all function in a balanced manner, their outlook on sex has changed to not be an animalistic nature, but more so a way to express their love to each other in a physical and spiritual way.
God, I need some of this.
I'm going to talk about spiritual way quite a bit.
Weird.
In their society, spiritually is not just a God thing.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. There was sections on it where they talk about what spiritually means to them, but basically it's more so their inner peace with themselves, and it's kind of that they're the place in the universe type deal.
Right.
Right.
So
now, to some people it is a god. To other people it is just the harmonious balance inside yourself that you're like, that's the
same as now then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some
but
people
they
believe
have a
in God,
deeper
some
understanding.
people
That's what the Nibble-Verse is once they came through that, then they were fully enlightened and able to have this enlightenment of spiritual peace, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So that's the whole importance of that.
Gotcha. I like this Nibble-Verse.
Stefan explains that that it is common that some people only experience true love, not just in the physical sense, usually not more than once in their lifetime.
I believe it.
Back in the day, sex and love was started between two people solely on the basis of attraction to the other, while in the future, they use time to grow their relationship and develop before introducing sex into it after some time. Now, they want to develop the spiritual relationship between themselves before they make it physical. They took the animalistic side out of it, but also, as we'll come to find out soon, sex was also starting to become a little bit regulated.
Oh.
It's not so much sex being regulated, but the product of it.
Oh, okay.
People.
That's fine.
People. During the relationship, each partner is with the other on the accepted moral grounds of their values. They won't cheat or be unhappy because it's not like anyone in their time to be dishonest with another, for both are in the relationship for the same reason. If they fall out of love or become unhappy, they will communicate about it and have full honesty, which does not breed anger or hatred or any hard feelings. They're in this relationship to make each other happy, and they feel happy being with each other. You get that sense of completeness. And if someone does not feel that anymore, they're mature and evolved enough to have that conversation, and you're not making me happy. And then that person will say, I'm not making you happy, and I'm failing, and I agree that you should be happy, so we're done. It's amicable. There's no reason to go cheat because you just have that conversation. And they're
mature adults with low emotions.
They don't have low emotions. They have emotions that are expressive enough where they can express them.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because somebody may cheat because they're afraid of expressing their emotion, you know what I mean, and leaving the other one.
It's not even that, though.
Or if they're in an unhappy relationship, they're...
That's what I'm saying right there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm unhappy, but usually the other person, if they're happy, isn't just going to be like, well, all right, I guess you should leave then.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's not so much like a spite thing. Well, like, fine, you're not happy, get the fuck out of here. It's like, no, I want you to be happy, and if you need to find that elsewhere...
More emotional.
I'm failing you.
Emotional maturity.
Yes, exactly.
Got it. I wasn't. Oh, okay. I was about to say I wasn't there on you. Sorry.
It doesn't breed this way of communicating doesn't breed anger or hatred or any hard feelings. It is said, never would a woman be with a man or vice versa out of self-interest, just to benefit from them later and not out of love or strong physical attraction, Stefan said. Dishonesty is inexcusable and unforgivable. What we want most is to have a calm heart and a calm mind, far from moral uncertainties like jealousy, suspicion, or fear. And all of this is achieved in the ideal true love relationship that they have, which
Gotcha.
again they only experience like once in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And if they had it and then it's gone, they don't really move on.
Oh, that's kind of lonely.
Yeah. Though the relationships may last for ages, the sole duty of each is to make the other happy and love each other's flaws and strengths through thick and thin. But in any case, some find themselves falling out of love with each other and not fulfilling their duty. And in that case, the two speak about it and make whatever course correction is needed, whether it's to split or to try harder. Stefan says that sure, we are free from worldly pain like suffering, poverty, violence, and manners like that, but the pain of the heart is one that can't be fixed and is still present in our lives. But the difference to them is that at least they know what pains them, and they can do something about it.
Right.
In November of his trip, I should preface this too. I failed to mention it last time. He woke up in August in the future. Also, their dating system is different. The start of the New Age, which I'll talk about later, is when they started their calendar system over from zero.
And
so it's 3906 AD to us.
Yeah.
But to them, it's like 2000 something.
Oh.
I think, or 1000 something.
Okay.
So at one point in his diary entries, it changes from like September 6th of 3906, like our format.
Mm-hmm.
It changes from that to like a completely different format with different numbers, and he doesn't explain it until way later. It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just roll with this now.
Guess I'll just fuck off then.
Yeah, but so he woke up in August and now November. So all of this stuff is still happening in the first early few months.
Either this 1920s man is a fucking genius.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying.
That I wouldn't even think of like just, let's just switch this and not say anything till later.
It's pretty fucking crazy. He just keeps going with it. I'm sorry, there's so much shit, and again, this is only very early on.
Yeah.
So in November of his trip, his relationship with Sylvia is still developing.
Ooh.
They took a trip to Western France. Here he saw a stark contrast from his time. The successive and immense state he saw there was the typical image of all states around the world at the time. For a traveler coming from my time, the place is unrecognizable. The life of the harbors, the quaint images of the commercial and naval traffic, the typical local color of this part of rural France, even the lagoon complex that used to prettify the place, they're all gone. Even the climate has changed. It has become milder, sweeter, and more transparent, free from the humidity brought by the sea, more Mediterranean, if I might say. The old glorious worldwide language had now been replaced by the vernacular, which I now have almost learnt by listening to it at the villas and in Salerno, which is another place he went on a trip to, during my brief visit on the way to the cities of Central Europe and the big capital of the north, which is Norfolk. Contrary to what I have noticed while in the outskirts of Salerno here, no place names have been salvaged, not even the most historical ones. So they changed the names. It's completely unrecognizable from the France he knows.
Gotcha.
Only their fruitful vineyards are reminiscent of the old days. Across the country, however, there are no inch of land untended. Perhaps the population could have become a matter of debate, and one could argue that some places could afford more or fewer inhabitants. But that was it. They had transformed the swamps into huge garden cities. These once indifferent rural areas had now acquired the air and charm of a vast megacity and had turned out to be more striking than even old Paris. Now, you don't see misery next to beauty. You wouldn't come across any works of art anywhere else except in the places where they can be self-conserved. They can't bear ugliness and decay, not even in the smallest scale. What I saw was a unique sense of beauty and uniformity generously scattered everywhere. as if it was artistically done by a rational spirit. That is, of course, was a result of the current economic conditions and their incredible technological capabilities.
Woo!
That's a lot, but it's important to note many things in there. One, beauty everywhere. Two, everything in the area, any untouched land is now being touched and tended to by either a city or hotel, gardens, anything to do with this mega city.
Yes.
And this is the picture or the typical city state of everywhere in the world right now.
Gotcha.
So
sounds like they got rid of a lot of historical stuff too.
yes, but they talk a lot about they did preserve a lot as best as they could, but some of the stuff's not going to last forever.
I was about to say, it's kind of interesting because in 2,000 years from today, how much of our shit's going to be around?
Right. How much of the pyramids and shit. Yeah, exactly. And their social hierarchy becomes more clear to Dienach during these times.
Mm-hmm.
He says that where we would place business tycoons, politicians, generals, aristocrats on a scale of power and pedestal, now sat what they call lorfs and electors. Now, if you remember from Elector, Jaeger, and stuff like that earlier.
Yes.
Now they place lorfs and electors who do possess power, but not a corruptible one. Their power comes in the form of the betterment of society around them. All of the knowledge, arts, spiritual teachings, service, research, all of this is given back to the public and society in the name of that society. So where we idolize these horrible people in our times and stuff, and in his time, now they have these lorfs and electors who are these great wise people,
right,
whose sole purpose is to better society and life.
Okay.
And they have the same amount of power that we gave these shitty people. You know what I mean?
Right.
But in a good way. You know what I'm saying?
They care more about
society. Yes.
Not their pockets, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Not that politicians only care about their pockets and lie and cheat and steal. Let's keep moving.
Sorry, I had a Mitch McConnell moment. I also need a drink.
Are you all right?
I'll have a Donald Trump moment.
Are you all right? Yeah.
He didn't even respond a couple times. Dude was gone.
The second one, the one I sent you, they asked him, "Are you going to run for re-election 2026?" Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was just...
And he just sat there. Did you hear the question, Mr. Senator? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of those things
Can we
where
get
it's
a term limit? Like,
I agree.
Mandatory... Once you hit this age, you donezo. Or a
There's
term limit.
Term limit.
Yeah, like the president has a 2-year term, but why can't these fucks?
And they're the ones that have more power than the president.
Exactly.
So nobody wants to talk about that.
Exactly.
Y'all just want to bitch.
Exactly. You're going to like the next few bits about our history here.
Fuck our history, all right? Our history is our future, you mean?
Yeah.
Our future.
Yes, our future, their history. So at the top, you got the lorfs and electors and all that such. Now, people who continue the 2 years or continue their partnership after 2 years, and they can go on to become people like this.
Okay.
That's kind of that class.
Below it, Lenin. I vote for Lenin.
Below it, you got the Cives or Cives. I don't fucking know. Cives sounds more normal, like civvy clothing. You know what I'm saying?
What is this? Cives?
Yes. It's either Cives or Cives, as they are called. Fact check. I'm usually the fact checker. You're fact checking today.
I have to.
I know you do.
Cive.
Well, it's neither of the two I thought. We're going to go with...
That's as long as it's right.
We're going to go with Cives.
I like it. Like cities, but civies.
Yeah.
Or skivvies.
Or scabies.
Oh, well.
The Cives, as they are called, are the common people. These are the people like Stefan, Andreas Northam, Sylvia, all those people that have that, done with the 2-year, go live free. Those are those who have served their 2 years as partners and entered into the world, free people to live out their lives for peace and enjoyment. Mm-hmm. They do not partake in administrative processes and jobs. They had served their time and they are done. 140.
Dunzo.
The exemption of the civies from any mandatory intermingling with the office partners, similar to our own public servants, or at least the reduction of this contact to the minimum possible was a right that had been definitively won centuries ago by their Universal Commonwealth. Now, they don't even have to interact with the people making the laws.
Yeah.
They just are informed about it because they're just like, yeah, whatever they say, we're going to do anyway.
Right.
But whatever they say, we're going to agree with anyway because it's like, oh, it's a good law or it's a good change, so they don't even interact. And it is actually considered to be one of their most valuable and enviable achievements, something like the securing of the civil rights and individual freedoms was for us. Of course, such a right wasn't won from one day to the next, but gradually over hundreds of centuries, and it's a very promising thought that the monster of bureaucracy will one day crumble to the ground, defeated by logic. I just love that last line he had. He's like, it gives me, he says, this very promising thought that the monster of bureaucracy will one day crumble to the ground, defeated by logic. It's so good.
That'd be nice.
Yes, it would be.
Not in our time.
No, it wouldn't be.
Our people care about us. They don't just take our money and put it in their pockets and then tax us even more.
Deception.
I didn't just pay twice as much on my taxes for making 5,000 more.
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Benefits of a business,
I was
baby.
watching, I think it was the Stephen Colbert, one of his episodes. Somebody was talking about the healthcare system. We get paid tax. We pay taxes out of our...
Oh, you're going to get me started on this. Go ahead.
We pay taxes out of our pays,
Yep.
And then those taxes go towards the private healthcare system. We pay out of our check separately to the private healthcare system. And then the government pays the private healthcare system. Now, we rely on the private healthcare system when we go to the doctor, but they say, oh, we don't have enough money. You got to give us more money. So then we pay them again. What the fuck is happening here? How come they're getting paid 3 times? It's ridiculous.
Kind of like the business that gets taxed and the employee that gets taxed. And then you got to pay for stuff, which is taxed. And
yes.
Then if you sell something, it's taxed.
Exactly. It's so fucking annoying. God damn, the country was started over this bullshit.
I know.
God, and it was like for way less. Countries were started over less.
Literally. Ours.
Yes. Pissing me the fuck off.
Anyway. Healthcare annoys me because of how much I have to pay. And then it's like $400 a month plus a $2,000 deductible. So now I'm literally paying, what do we got here? Fucking hair my $6,800 for the year. And I, may go to the doctors, let's say twice.
Yeah.
So
I haven't gone to the doctor in 10 years.
I haven't either, but we're just using this for argument's sake.
Yeah.
Because I'm a healthy
member of society.
Exactly. So I don't really need to go constantly. Some people do.
But you're fucked if you don't have that shit.
I don't have it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't, because I'm not going to sit here and spend $48,000. God damn it. $4,800.
On track to make $10 million this year.
Yeah, that's what.
Hell of a turnaround, my friend.
Yeah.
Fucking crushing it.
90 million is what I said. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
90,000, 90 million, whatever. Anyways, yeah. The point is I have to pay a lot in, still have a $2,000 deductible, so I have to pay for everything anyways.
Yeah.
And then do it all again the next year.
Yep.
Or I could take that money and put it into, like a Capital One 360 savings.
Yeah.
I make about $100 and something to $200 a month on that.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Yep. It's bullshit.
Anyways, that was a little
bullshit,
side
but
tangent
guess what?
that can be cut if you want.
No, it's all good. We're fucked. It kind of ties in with a little bit. We're very fucked. We're really fucked. You'll find out in a minute. The Cives are looked upon.
I don't know what to do.
Shut it on the ground. Shut it on the table.
I'll kick it.
Put it in your pants.
Well, it's already not enough room in there, so.
Oh, the Cives are looked upon in respect and higher position by the partners, which again, the partners are the 2-year members serving.
Yeah.
The partners are the ones who perform all jobs, including communication between the Cives and the Lorfs over changes to laws or to record access. The partners make the society run and continue. Their service isn't anything violent or involuntary, but it's not bad. It's like just a normal job.
But I got nothing to rebuttal here. So
it is nothing violent nor involuntary.
Got it.
They're only performing a job which is required of them. The job that could be that job could be a secretary, office worker, mechanic, construction worker, record keeper, maintenance, any job which society needs to survive, as I mentioned last episode.
Yeah.
In turn, this means that the civies, which the partners can become in time, get to wash their hands of responsibilities and duties and to live out their days in the society with inner fulfillment and happiness. As mentioned before, some of the partners wish to continue on afterward, serving society, and do so through that more lifelong career committing jobs.
Like
scientist, teacher,
yeah,
elector, which many do and become the lorfs and electors.
Lorfs and electors.
The biggest difference is that the different social classes do not rival each other, nor have any animosity toward the other.
That'd be nice.
No one class nor person stands in the way of another achieving the same inner cultivation and joy of life that they possess themselves. Everyone has a place, and you can find that place and be supported by everyone around you, no matter what class.
That'd be nice.
Right? But that sounds really nice, you know?
Yeah, you twat. Great banter.
It's pretty
it does sound nice.
Pretty nice that they have such a regard for each other as equals. As for how our near future shaped this new present,
yeah, tell us.
this is where it should start to get wild.
Shit's about
During
to go
the
down.
20th and 21st centuries, and I want you guys all to keep in mind.
20th. We're in the 21st. Nice.
Yes, I want you all to keep this in mind.
Yeah.
Skeptics, say if this was made up by him,
yeah.
skeptics say,
yeah.
Remember, a man is making this up in the 1920s then.
When was this book written?
The diary was from the 1920s.
When was it written? Published?
The one I'm currently reading?
Yeah.
1970s. That was Papa Chatzis. This is all word for word his.
That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is all word for word his.
Anyways, yes,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I was just trying to say when was it published?
I got you. Yeah. So if people say that he made this up, a lot of this is way too similar to what we are experiencing today, and it's kind of interesting. But keep that in mind while you're listening to the next bit.
It is in the forefront of thy mind.
Yes. As for how our near future shaped this new present, during the 20th and 21st centuries, the fall of European society and thus worldwide society followed in their tracks would come at the hands of a techno-culture. This techno-culture, focused on standardized industrial products, meant mainly for consumption, unconditional and unlimited admiration unconditional and unlimited admiration on the technical applications of natural resources and sciences, economic values designed with one goal in mind, material gain, and most importantly, the indifference to inner cultivation, which led people to have an internal struggle with their soul and emotional intelligence.
So if you're listening to this right now, you're the problem.
Pretty much. This materialistic worldview that was held by all bred popularization of amenities, which in turn, the standards of living did so, and in turn, food and industrial production as well, all raised upwards. This ever-scaling trend upwards in cost and quantity of things and how they were delivered to the right masses all created an imperfect society bound for collapse. The pursuit of money became the primary driving force for each and every decision rather than creativity, happiness, and fulfillment. The Western spirit, as Dienach calls it, overpowered many nations and expanded its territory across the globe to align with base attributes of each nation it touched. Now, there's a lot to unpack there, but
That's
basically,
unzip and pack.
Huh?
That's unzip and unpack.
Basically, the pursuit of the dollar, of money, drove everybody to live in this society bound for collapse because all of this focus on delivering the products and the shitty food and amenities and everything to these people because they could make money off of it made a rise in technology and population, and all the standards started to go down because quantity went up, so quality went down, and everyone was just trying to make $1 off of it. So people started getting shitty conditions and started to become shitty human beings in general.
That's today.
Exactly. Now a little bit timeline past all of this.
Yeah.
The Western spirit, as he calls it, basically not third world countries, but your superpowers of the world.
Yes.
They started to have influences all over the world and not just in their own countries. The Anglo-Saxons spread themselves throughout the world through their currencies and their language. So you felt the English's presence with their currency system, the euro, maybe.
Right.
Or the new equivalent in the future. Everyone was starting to speak English or an Anglo-Saxon variation.
Right.
The North American Confederation, he calls it, took on political responsibilities and influences around the world through many nations. So the North American government started inserting itself into governments all around the world and making decisions for them.
We already do that.
Exactly. The reach of the North American influence was beginning to be felt all over the world as well. Music, culture, visual arts, architecture, principles of youth, and attitude towards life were all making their way into every nation and becoming the dominant influence.
Ugh, that's scary.
Does it sound familiar that all over the world our influence is felt severely by them? In Hollywood, when was the last time you watched a movie that came out of fucking Russia?
Oh, the other day.
Yeah.
It was called Nakhnashtimf.
Yeah, actually, there's a really cool Russian movie that I watched
What is it?
about a superhero team. It's kind of like,
Oh, there's a big bear in there.
yeah, it was actually really good.
I've never seen it.
With a quick dude who's got knives.
I have never seen it.
It's really good. You might like it.
Where'd you watch it?
I can't remember. I watched it a while ago.
Cool. I'll watch it. Do you remember the name?
Everybody check it out. No.
It was a Russian movie.
It was good, though.
The Russian superhero movie. There's only one of them.
Yeah. Anyway, so North American influence starting to be felt all over through their political government and also basically pop culture and our attitude and way of life.
It is true. There's a lot of American music that's shared around the world.
Movies, TV shows, attitude. Yeah.
All of it. You're right.
Style.
Absolutely.
Everything. Violence, terrorism.
We got style.
Well, you're right. Yeah. Yeah! We got a cowboy hat. Violence, terrorism, manifestations of nihilistic views became common. Solidarity, compassion for the weak and poor, respect for human dignity all began to fall by the wayside. All in the mentality that it was every man for himself.
Okay, that's, again, already true.
Correct. If you are caught up in the gears that turn the industrial materialistic society of the 20th and 21st centuries, you are familiar with living a life of inner and self-poverty. Caught in the hustle and bustle of the aggressive struggle for survival of the breakneck pace to meet your standards and barely scrape by financially and spiritually.
Oh, I don't relate to that at all.
Yeah.
Work 100 hours and...
She's on.
Work 100 hours and then,
Struggle.
whatever I can and then...
Still struggle.
I mean,
not when you make 90 million.
90 million is... Yeah, pretty. I don't
Chump
struggle.
change.
I don't struggle. I actually have you on the payroll, but you just will not accept it. You won't accept my checks.
Exactly.
It's only 2 pennies. You rub them together and make a wish.
A year. Democratic ideals were traded with a competition of autocracies concerned not over the betterment and freedom of people, but whether the new totalitarian state would be right or left wing, a spark that ignited many conflicts. So democratic worldviews just started to go by the wayside. New governments started popping up that were totalitarian. This all brought the Middle Ages, they call it, or the Dark Ages, a time when the materialistic gain took the place of love, sensitivity, mercy, forgiveness, all thrown away for the pursuit of one's own needs and gains.
Yeah. Just go on OnlyFans and you'll make $1 million.
Yep.
If you're a female.
But you make the road that they drive on as a podcast I just saw made the comparison. The guy who makes the road that they drive on doesn't make what they make in a month and a year and a half or 2 years. And we have these OnlyFans models on pedestals, but not the people who build this country.
That one keep it together.
That one hit a little too close to home. I built country.
Well, kind of you do.
Well, nobody gets paid what they should.
Oh.
Anywhere.
Well, if you can spread your legs and twiddle your thing, tons of money.
There's a person out there that'll pay you for
If you
it.
can kick a ball, you get money. If you can throw a ball and catch a ball, run with a ball, you get money.
Pretty much.
Of course, I love sports. I'm just
I love
trying to
sports,
make
too.
it, you know.
We'll bring up sports in a few minutes here.
Damn it. Don't you kick on my sports now.
This in the competitive society that it morphed into, a person was judged solely on their results and effectiveness, and bred a person with a thirst for power and domination, bent on repressing or shutting out emotions that could be seen as weakness.
Yes, that happens to us men all the time.
Mm-hmm. I said, my next note, this society sounds very familiar.
Hey, Lennon.
Yeah.
Are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. In reality, no. I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. You need to talk about it? You need to talk about it? No. It is what it is. And then we move on.
Yeah. That's
because if you cry or show weakness, you get judged not mostly by other men, but by females. That's something I watched. It's a video I watched. It's not. I didn't come up with that.
No.
Basically, we have to suppress our emotions because if we show emotion in a sad way or anything, it gets viewed as weakness by the opposite sex.
Well,
and
take it.
Then we're less desired. But then it's the whole thing. Well, we have emotions too, is all I'm trying to say.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, we are. If you bring it down to its base purpose or base root, men are supposed to be the one for protection and providing food from back in the animalistic days, you know?
Yeah, the days? Yeah, you know.
So, I mean, if we're seen as weak,
yep,
we're undesirable, and we don't want to be undesirable, so we hide it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one hit close.
False
heroes.
Hey, I've never shed a tear in my life.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Just go watch Collateral Beauty and tell me you don't
Christ.
cry like a bitch.
Did I tell you about that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Did you have the same experience I did?
There's 2 movies, both Will Smith movies.
7 pounds.
7 pounds.
Oh, Pursuit of Happiness.
That one got me too, but those other 2 just.
Yeah. 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 I watched both of them by myself at 3 a.m. The hell are you looking at me like that for? Oh, fuck.
Yes, I can make myself cry, but now actually I look like I'm crying.
Yeah, you do.
Even Little Squash got scared there. He jumped.
Sure did. Well, anyway, moving on to lighter stuff, like the downfall of society.
That was a hell of a tangent.
False heroes were put on pedestals and morals put by the wayside with everyone to blame for their faults but themselves. Again, sounds familiar. Everybody blames everybody else but themselves for their own failings.
Yep.
Exactly.
We're going to prop up these influencers, making them seem like they're something that they're not. Wait, shit, we're influencers. Better shut up.
An extra from the book says, and there came times when this disappearance of faith in metaphysical havens, combined with exhausting rhythm of life of the human robot, resulted in the appearance of distressing mental side effects on a grand scale. Severe neuropsychiatric disorders and extensive suicides, and then a stage of nihilistic self-abandonment prevailed for many years. So it became really dark times. After the 21st century, the main areas of conflict, such as domination over resources, control of energy sources, world trade, and global industrial supply, had been duked out countless times. But now stood another hurdle for the inhabitants of Earth and the governing structures within. Now comes the issue of overpopulation. The Earth had reached its limits. One might argue that overpopulation might have been the main cause of some of the prior conflicts, but nonetheless, something needed to be done, and at this point, no one could agree on how to handle the situation. What is the criteria the population control method should follow? How do you allocate numbers and replacement rates to all of the different races and cultures? What wording do you use to specify each detail thoroughly?
They, them.
Yeah. Racial discrimination was not found in these high-ranking positions, solving the issue, luckily. So, luckily, the people who were making decisions were not racist. They were actually, legitimate good people.
That's good.
But these people creating the rules were not biased nor prejudiced, but they were struggling to define the terms. At the time, famines and starvation plagued the world, striking the poorest nations first and the hardest, while even the larger industrial, richer states in Europe began to feel the breeze of malnutrition early on. These leaders had to figure out where each and every culture stood at the current time, not where they stood in the past, where these issues did not exist. Now, this is important because, say this culture has less people but made more of an impact on history, and say this culture has more people but definitely made less of an impact, or something like that. Something along that. Many conflicts started between cultures because of this. They started calling each other out, and fucking racism and prejudice against cultures definitely started to run rampant.
Starting now.
Exactly. The time...
Sadly.
Yeah. This time of chaos and hunger started many a social and political upheaval. There were times when the ancient law of the jungle outweighed the rules of even the earliest civilizations. Cultures and countries fought over their place and their recognition in history. Prejudice and racism began to rear its ugly head, and the struggle continued and grew worse. People were looked at not as equals fighting for this fight on the planet together, but as competition for their place. Who had more influence during what time, and whose numbers were more but didn't have as much contribution, as I said. Which faith should be removed as a whole of people from the question, as they were living in the clouds and reignited old perceptions and negative attitudes, as they put it. That was the way they put it in there.
Yeah.
I'm not calling out a specific...
You're fine. You're reading a book.
Many were to blame for the failure to legislate institutions of birth control and monitoring demographics on time. The world was in chaos, filled with hatred and no sign of hope. It was a survival of extinction. It was survival or extinction for the decision makers.
Yep. That's kind of right. What it is now with everything and everyone, whether it's a race or a sex or a not sex or whatever.
Yeah.
Want to say?
In the book, he says, "We, the people of the 19th and 20th centuries, cannot conceive how huge and intractable a problem it will be for us in the future to find an empty and permanent place in this colossal human organism called Earth, and to integrate ourselves into it and manage to live out our lives." So basically, in the future, they found it nearly impossible to find a new Earth for us, a new home.
Right.
So we were stuck. Yeah. They divide their history into ancient era and new era. The new era began when the first enlightened person came to reach this state, Volki, as mentioned earlier. This happened 524 years prior to Dienach's travel. The ancient era, 524 years prior to Dienach waking up in the future. In 3306.
Okay, I got it. Understood now.
Yes.
Sorry.
The ancient era had lasted 986 years prior to that, starting with year 1 in their new chronology. Our time is considered to be the dark ages of prehistory, a time when people had struggled with anarchy from 3 major factors: economic, political, and demographic, which, again, sounds very similar now. They said in schools today, they paint a rather exaggerated and grim picture of our times, which they call prehistoric, an image of chaos, brutality, mutual extermination, a dark world with criminal instincts and perversions, with a thirst for pleasures in life and indifference to moral acts, with materialistic motives everywhere and disregard for decency.
No, that's not
right.
Not hitting home at all.
Exactly. There was an attempt to impose birth control laws, but were never able to be fully realized by many world governments, all with their own agenda and opinions. Without united institutions throughout the world, this lack of cooperation led many historical injustices. Over time, for about 450 years, many different experimental institutions and separatist groups came and went, with the global crisis ending each one, until the final proclamation of the Universal Unifying Assembly on March 5th of 2396. Most of these failed institutions were regional, springing up where a country thought that they'd take a crack at it. Their motives aligned with their country or their race or their culture over the world as a whole.
Right.
At their base point, they aimed for a simple balance of power, but fell short. Despite all of these failed attempts, they laid the groundwork for what would become the Universal Commonwealth, the governing structure that had endured since its creation in 2396 to the time of Dienach arriving in the future.
Right.
The Universal Commonwealth is the one world government in the good way. The first leader of the Universal Commonwealth was an Englishman named John Terring. Just a little side note for you.
I know that guy.
Do you?
No.
During the dark ages of prehistory, our time.
John Terring, if you're listening to this in the future,
welcome.
We're with you.
Welcome.
Bring us right now.
They said that in the 20th century, man was so caught up in trying to harness the power of the elements in nature, nuclear energy, electricity, and solar energy. And in the 21st century, automation of tasks and machines, workers were replaced with robots, and this developed a lot of free time in the average workman's calendar. And with this, and with our society, this free time was able to be filled with deplorable deeds such as gambling, prostitution, vulgar mass media, sports games for some reason. I don't know why those were in there as being bad. Music was reduced to simple melodies and rhymes devoid of talent.
That's also true.
Yep.
All of it's true so far.
Urbanization and overpopulation left less and less land to be farmed for food, so food shortages began, and in turn poorer options for artificial nutrition and supplementation arose.
Yep.
So all the fake shit that they put in foods nowadays is basically the same thing. This is around the same time humanity finally reached alien lands in the cosmos. So while all this was happening, they were still able to, leave Earth.
Right.
Then came the 4-century-long war that battled corruption and evil ways of the world with a new rationalized school of thought of the future. Enough people had enough shit and finally stood up to those evil ways of those in power, holding them down. Positive universal efforts were made to strike down the monster of anarchy, which tormented human societies for centuries and in many forms: political disorganization, fights over sovereignty, military rivalries, plundering of national economies, demographic anarchy, and the like. And so began the dramatic struggle that lasted approximately 4 centuries with many alternating phases of transitions. A struggle between the ancient, well-founded beliefs and the new ideas about the organization of rationalization of life.
4 centuries.
4 centuries. They fought for this. Between basically good and evil of humanity.
Huh. When does that start?
Around 23 something.
Okay, so we're long.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. The new beliefs and motives were taken very seriously and registered well with the young generation and poorer classes. Over time, global political leaders began to pop up, heroes to the political atmosphere on an international scale. Technology closed the gap of distance between the masses and the world, began to look less like a collection of separate countries and rather like one single region. One single region in disorganization waiting for the right people at the right time to unify them as the one world government. From there, the Universal Commonwealth was then birthed, and developments and course corrections followed, bringing them to the Volki's Enlightenment, and with that, the new human being evolution.
Oh, these damn Vulcans, I tell you.
Now, in that sentence, I glossed over 2,000 years of their history. History filled with political turmoil and fighting, society on the brink of collapse, new law and order methods and legislature, incredible wars with varying weapons of mass destruction, all of which accumulated in the society that was presented to Dienach upon his awakening. A peaceful society that lives harmoniously with nature and each other, technological developments, scientific studies, artistry admired and worshipped for its beauty. It seems that we have a very rocky road ahead of us, but it does bring hope that the future, no matter how far, might have a light at the end of the tunnel. We will never see it for another 2,000 years, but we make it, we survive and endure. As for the survivors of the Nibble-Verse, people gained a new sense of happiness, spiritual peace, and divine joy with the acceptance of death. But they also found that returning to their mundane life was difficult.
Right.
They found that it came with a disregard for worldly things that now felt insignificant to them. This feeling among those sparked a desertion and mass exodus of the Anderson Institute, the institute developing these enlightened humans. This started to become a thing of concern around 3382, when enough cases of these people feeling this sense of insignificance made the Anderson Institute question whether this biological evolution came at the right time or not, and how to treat these people and continue to give them purpose. Now, after this next step of human evolution, they started to just feel like their mundane daily routine was insignificant to them. Like,
right,
I'm meant for more than this, and they either left society or left society in a physical way and killed themselves.
Ow.
So there started to become mass suicides about it.
Oh, I like that.
Their answer was not to push people to achieve this enlightenment any further. They felt it was best not to rush this next step in human evolution, but to let it happen in its own time and pace. Because before that, it was like, to say, Doctor Strange. They were the monastery. They were teaching all of this stuff instead of just letting the natural ones happen. They then highlighted the importance of greatness of each step in life to the masses. The here and now is just as important as the then and was.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout his 1 year in the future, Dienach learns much about their history and our future.
Oops, sorry.
He learns new outlooks on life, has a relationship that might be Anna reincarnated. Didn't talk about that. That's a big thing. And gains a new sense of understanding about who we are and our place in the universe or beyond. His travels took him all over the world with friends of Andreas Northam's, who he befriends himself under the false guise that he is Northam the whole time. A select few knew his story, and even fewer understood it. But his time in the future was an incredible journey filled with amazing sights and stories and an insight for us about who we are. I did not have time to cover nearly half of all of the history nor tales of his journeys and experiences, but I urge you listeners to pick up the book and read it for yourselves. We leave Dienach in the future on his final night. He is conversing with his friend Stefan about the truth of his situation and the transcendence of time and love that the mind has. He suddenly grows very relaxed and very tired for the first time in a year since he woke up.
Mm-hmm.
A feeling he hadn't truly experienced in his entire stay in the future. He revels in the wonderful feeling of rest that it brings and drifts off to sleep one last time in the future as Andreas Northam. From here, he wakes up from a 1 year coma back in Switzerland in 1922, a new man, yet still the same man. And now, that ties it back into where he writes his journals at the beginning. Right. And that is only a
fraction,
eighth of the story of Paul Amadeus Dienach. The diary, Chronicles of the Future, make sure you get the Achilles Sergios one. You can get it for $8 for the Kindle version, or you can get a hardcover version or paperback version for like $20.
That's mine.
It's definitely worth picking up because this story is incredible.
Right.
There's so much stuff in there that I know that I did
you fast forwarded at the end.
Brief cliff notes there.
Someone I was fast forward.
I thought I was losing you.
Why?
I thought I was losing you. I was like, I gotta get through this boring shit.
Now, there's a couple times I was gonna interject, and then you just plowed through. I was like, okay.
My bad.
Don't be. You're good.
But like I said, a
lot of it was I
exactly
didn't comprehend on.
That's the problem. Like I said, I had to read certain chapters, which were certain days and stuff.
It's a good thing I had
multiple times.
Can understand
to fully understand it.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out. If whether you believe this or not, whether you believe that he really did experience this and this really happened, or if you think his mind made it up, this is incredible either way.
Right.
Because either A, that really happened. This is our future. This is somehow a conscious mind is able to travel in time to another body.
Possible.
That's incredible. Or two, the unconscious mind was able to make up this entire 1 year of life with 2,000 years of history.
Right.
And all of these people, all of these technologies, all of these events
that
for
weren't there in
one full
1920s.
year. Exactly. Like, it's just incredible either way. Now, Dienach went to his grave wholeheartedly insisting and urging everyone to believe that this is a legitimate thing that happened to him.
Right.
For a final thought thing, I'd love to say that I believe that.
Right.
So I'm gonna fuck it. I'm gonna say I believe that he really went to the future. Some of this shit is way too fucking close to home. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know. It's pretty incredible. Taking reading, as I said, obviously read through the diary. Taking him for his word here, he's a very credible man.
The only question I have is how sure are we that was from his diary? That's all. From 1920. And that the 1970, the author from 1970 didn't just say it was.
Well, there is a record of him, of Dienach, and all
I'm not saying he's not real.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I'm saying that all of the accounts and stuff align with his early diary. Now, you're correct. It could be somebody making that up, because if we can see the records, so can they. But
yes.
I don't know. I'd like to believe
It's
that
hard.
these people
so
are credible.
mind blowing
It's changed
someone
hands a
could-
couple times.
that someone could, you know,
The only person that would change it or would fabricate it would be Papa Chatsis.
fucking Papa. I don't think he did it.
And
Papa didn't
he
lie.
did everything in his power to convince the Freemasons to release it so he could publish it and get it out there. Because he brought it to them after realizing what it was and was like, we got to kind of keep this away from everybody until we can really fully understand this. Make sure that this is, we got to fully understand.
Hey, that doesn't happen.
Right. And then
They don't take nothing, and no one takes information, hoards it, keeps it to themselves, steals it, or any of that stuff so that we don't learn shit.
Exactly.
Never happened.
So he did that, but 30 years later, he had to beg them. He's like, I think now's the right time to get this out. I don't, if that's legit too, I don't find that as a man who made this up and is like, oh, well, let's make some money off this.
Yeah.
Especially when it failed, and then he tried many times all the way to his death, He's like, this
Well,
is...
that's a little credence, because why would you go through all that trouble? You just publish the damn thing.
Exactly. So I'd like to believe this. I think it's incredible. This is, there's so many awesome stories in there of not just like all the, hey, this is what we're like now, and this is the history of how we got there, but also just like, hey, this is Sylvia, and this is my relationship with her, and she could possibly be Anna reincarnated.
Could it be?
And we're going to this incredible Italian resort country where he's
The whole country.
He's talking about, he's like, it's from coast to coast as we're flying over it. He goes, all you see is just resorts. And he goes, it looks incredible. Like, it's a giant mega city of like vacation. And he says it's like everything's like a super city like that, like the city of the north. And
Right.
I didn't even talk about the Valley of the Roses, which is like their capital for the entire, like all of their knowledge and answers and laws, everything comes out of the Valley of the Roses, and it's like this incredible capital place with all the like smartest people in the world that make all the decisions and stuff like that.
Right.
So much I didn't talk about. It was very cool. Definitely check it out, and said my piece.
Peace.
What do you think?
I would like to believe it's real too. There's
Too many
hard.
variables.
No, it's hard. Like,
It is. It's incredible.
Think of it in terms of you believe in the Matrix.
I do.
It's hard to believe. Like, it's hard to wrap your mind around something like that.
Right.
A 1920 man dies. I don't know how I was sounding there. I think I was too far
You're
away.
good.
A 1920s man dies, and his consciousness or brain or soul or whatever it was goes into the future.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to believe it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, why would you go through all that trouble to publish it if it wasn't his actual diaries?
Mm-hmm.
So, and if it was his actual diaries, then a lot of the stuff he's talking about with technology,
Mm-hmm.
which they didn't really have back then,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't know about it.
He's talking about harnessing solar electricity.
Right. That's not even, well,
1920s?
no, I'm joking. It's not even like a
Yeah.
thought then, I don't think.
Right. I don't know.
I would stamp it, I want to believe.
I like it. That's our new stamp. I want to believe, or I don't care about it.
Oh, I don't care about it. No, I want to believe.
I want to believe.
It's just so hard to.
It is.
It's hard. It's because remember that. Okay, so I'll talk about it now. That video of the guy who got sick and went to a coma for I can't remember how many years, and he basically traveled through what looked like time, or not time, space. Woke up in a hospital bed to three beings there, and them asking all questions and then giggling because he didn't remember them. And then that guy there that was just happy and then basically said, "You're not done there. You have to go back." And then he woke up out of a coma. A coma. Coma.
Yep.
Is that the same principle?
Right.
Or when we go into a coma, does our brains naturally fill that space with a
narrative?
Yeah.
Yep.
Was he in a coma? Jesus. Was he in a coma for a year, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens to our brains then? Like, they're obviously firing off. So
right.
Could it really create that whole story? And if it did, that's incredible too. Like,
That's what I'm
either
saying.
way, it's incredible. Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, yeah, I want to believe.
Cool.
I'm keep stealing Clarkson's tail. But on that bombshell,
read it. That's where we're leaving it. Read it.
Lennon, throw him to the outro now.
Well, ladies, gentlemen, squatches.
Read the fucking book. Sorry, I got angry.
And residents of our Techno-Culture. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode. It was a robot. If you would like to reach out to us and let us know your thoughts or opinions, you can do so by finding us on Instagram, Reddit, Facebook, and on our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button for auto downloads. Listen first thing every Monday morning because you need to listen to part 2 on your drive in. Thank you to all of our Patreon members to help keep this podcast reality. We're grateful for your continued support. If you haven't yet become a Patreon member and would like to support us, head to our Patreon. If you're feeling a little classy, check out our merch selection on our website to visually show your support to your friends and family. Now, Patreon members, if you are future prospect Patreon members, you get a bunch of bonus episodes on there. We got a lot of great series on there. A lot of good stuff to check out. You're going to get some cool benefits. You see...
Friends with benefits.
No. Well,
not for me.
Not for me.
No.
You get early access to episodes, discounts on merch, all sorts of good shit. So just check it out.
Contact with us. You
can have his personal phone number and call him at 3 a.m. and wake his ass up.
I know Francis the Ghost does, so why not?
I know at least a few
and then I get
frustrated.
I get frustrated, and I say, "Not today."
Oh, that was fun.
Leave me alone.
That was a good one. Drop us a 5-star rating and write us a review. Tell us what you love and how you are enjoying the show. Share us on your socials and tell your cryptid-loving friends and family about us. Subscribe, hit the bell, and like the videos on YouTube. This all helps us to grow and bring even more great content for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
Join us next Monday for our next incredible episode. You may write us, rate us, review us, but remember always stay curious, be vigilant, and don't touch my Sasquatch.
Don't do it. He's waking up from a year-long coma, and he has some shit to tell.
Oh.
Maybe. Peace.
See ya. Possibly.
He's, yeah.
Yeah. Eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, 6.
Hey.
7.
My turn.
8.
Now.
9.
Just Lennon. There he is.
Yep.
Oh, he's got the spectacles.
Schlechtmädchen.
Schmeckel pig.
Schmeckel pig. Schwein.
No, Schmeckelschwein.
You want to experience the Nibble-Verse?
The Nibble-Verse,
yes.
Hell, I'm for the Nibble-Verse, too.
Depends on the nipple.
Well, not your nipples. No offense, big guy.
Hey, it's all good. Really?
No, I'm joking.
All right. Feel the need to get rid of any... but just once in the... No. They once, though... Fuck.
Oh, this is going to be cut. We're not starting the day with Nature May. Go fuck yourself. I don't know. I think I swallowed the bug.
Great.
Get
a little snack for you.
Josh, turn Lennon's camera off in 3, 2, 1, bunk. Snarf.
Well, one day I'll remember.
All right, we go into the Glitterverse. Oh, it's a Nibble-Verse. That's right. All right, Nibble-Verse time. Yeah.
They get a sense of childlike innocence and purity of heart.
What?
No.
That wasn't me asking. That was him, I said.
Oh. I think I'm going to end the day with a chicken Caesar wrap. I think that sounds